So James, how excited are you for the Lucha Libre wrestling tonight?
Not really.
Is the best friend of the president. Leopoldo Batres and Manuel Gami.
So today we've taken a bus ride out to the Mayan site where the Temple of the Sun and the Temple of the Moon are. We've just got here, but a couple of little quick facts that we saw. The first one is that it's actually only 10% of what was originally here, and at the time it housed around about 250,000 people. So there are a few sites whilst we're here, but the first one we're going to see is the Citadel. So on a lot of the facades of the sites around here, you'll see that there are stones made into concrete running through it, and this is because it's part of the restoration work for the site. This was mainly due to it being abandoned for 700 years, and nature basically took over and just destroyed all of the sites. They did start to reconstruct the area to try and make it like the Egyptian pyramids but of Mexico, but later on there it was actually basically established that restoration could be done but not reconstruction, because they wanted to keep it as authentic as possible. We're now going to climb the first temple.
No, that's it.
I was going to say I almost didn't fall over. We're at the first stop now, which is the Temple of the Feather and the Snake, and these temples were actually used only more specifically for the leader of rich families or for royals, and they were only ever used for rituals. One little fact about the temples is that they're actually not hollow, they don't have any chambers, and this is one key comparison between temples and the pyramids. These have no chambers, they're not hollow, they're fully solid stone, and as they were only used for ritual purposes, even though they had a room at the top, this was only for that ritual. There were actually houses surrounding the pyramids where they lived. With regards to the rituals of the temples, one of the highest honours was actually the human sacrifice, and that was to be sacrificed for the gods, to meet their gods. Now this wasn't actually something that you necessarily volunteered for or that you were chosen or as a punishment, because like I say, it was one of the highest honours. So this was often people of high stature, warriors, soldiers, people who would win battles, tournaments, and this was all because it was one of the highest honours that people could do. After you were sacrificed, this was quite a torturous thing of ripping the heart out, but afterwards they actually severed your head, and this was used to basically somewhat decorate the outside of the temple. We're now at site number 2, which is the Temple of the Sun, which is just right behind me. We then have a long avenue which goes all the way down to the Temple of the Moon, which we're going to go to now. And finally, the third temple, which is the Temple of the Moon.
Nothing ever stays the same. Once you let it change. It's like a family tree. Part of you and part of me.
So I made James run because the tour said they were leaving very shortly, and they're all currently sitting over there. And James had to run, and now James is pretty annoyed.
Not only did you make me run, you made me put my bag in sports mode. So our last site of the day is the site of the Virgin Guadalupe, and it's where she is believed to have shown herself in a blanket, which is a clip that I'll show just in a moment. There are a few churches dotted around here, so we're going to head up to the one on the hill and have a little look. This was recommended or highly recommended from one of our walking guides, and it seems to be some kind of flatbread, fried flatbread with pulled meat, a whole lot of cheese, onions and cilantro, or what's it called? Parsley, coriander.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Perfect. Today we've come to explore the neighbourhood of Frida Kahlo, where she used to live, and also learn a little bit more about her as well. The neighbourhood is about a 30-minute train ride away from the city centre. However, one of the best things about Mexico City is how cheap the public transport is. You can ride the metro for 5 pesos for as far as you can go. So we were able to come, let's say 30 minutes for 5 pesos, which I think is about 20-25p. So it's very accessible. more and more that we walk around this neighborhood, the more and more it feels like the authentic Mexico, or the Mexico that I imagined in my head. The city center is, whilst it has a lot of historic buildings, it is being modernized quite a bit. This feels very traditional and very authentic and genuine. The neighborhood is also really well known, not only for celebrities, football players, politicians. It's also really well known for the architecture in the area, and all of the unique homes. You can also see quite clearly the difference between the architecture here and the architecture back in the city. The architecture here is a lot more of a Spanish influence versus the European influence. So these were two recommendations from the guy that we're with today. One is, it looks like a chicken taco, and the other is a pork taco. I've had a little taste and they are quite spicy, so we're going to try them now.
Lo hemos visto esta mañana al salir del metro, que hemos cruzado los baños y no sé si eso era la Reforma también.
That is spicy. So we're going to go now to get some coffee, and there is actually a coffee shop here, a traditional coffee shop. There is only one in all of Mexico City, and it's where they roast and grind their beans on site. So that's where we're going to go now, get a churro and sit in the park.
Wow! Come on, can you move it on? That's it, baby.
We've got two churros, the classic Nutella and one which is Bailey's.
Let's take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby.
Tonight is also going to be our first Lucha Libre event, which is the Mexican wrestling, and it's very similar to the American WWE, but it's far more dramatic. The wrestlers, who are also called Luchadors, they play these over-the-top characters and they wear masks, and it's very much played up. It's actually in a pretty big arena, and it's on 3 times a week. And we managed to get some pretty decent tickets actually last minute just from Ticketmaster, and they're about £5, £6, £7 depending on the conversion. I'm recording it now because we're actually going to be in a mad rush, and it's meant to be very heavy rain a little bit later on, so we're going to get changed, go there, and then I'll show you the arena next.
Sorry, is the seat taken?
Oh no, please.
Thanks so much.
So today is our last day in Mexico City, or our last full day at least, and we were going to spend it exploring the water villages. Now the water villages are about an hour and a half outside of the city, and there are a couple of ways that you can get here. You can do an arranged tour, which was around £40, or you can get the public transport and make your own way here. And I think that worked out to be about 30 or 40 pesos, so about 50 pence. So there was quite a big difference. Now we've got here and it's not good. It's not nice. There's no one here. I'll show some clips. There are no boats barely on the water. There's no people around. We're just walking around. We're being followed by tour guides who are obviously just looking to get someone to go on the boats. You know, considering how clean and tidy the city is beautiful, but outside here it's a lot more run down. There's dog crap all over the floor. It's just not quite the picturesque image that I saw on Google and on Instagram, so a little bit of a letdown. Like I say, if people are coming on tours, you might get a completely different experience, because you know you're paying in advance and it's all organised, but making your own way here was a bit of a flop. Can you spell flop?
There's no one here.
So now that we've lost our stalkers, we're gonna head back to the city, I think, which is now another hour-and-a-half journey. Woo! In all fairness though, this is the first flop we've had this trip, so been pretty lucky. This is nice though. Today's the day that we leave Mexico City. It's been an unreal few days. We've loved Mexico City. We don't leave until quite late tonight, about 11:30, so we've got a day just walking around the city. Ironically, it's probably the nicest day that the whole time we've been here. So we're just filling our day. We're currently outside of the Anthropology Museum, and we're just going to take a walk around the park until we leave for the airport. Today we actually leave to go to Peru, so Peru's going to be our next stop. We start off in Lima, we're there for a few days, and then we move on to Huacachina. So see you in Peru.